back to 𝓿𝙼𝓸. Today we have a new level called Lost Willow featuring the Old Typhlosion VSTAR from Astro Radiance with the Hollow Flames attack doing 180 damage plus the special effect of putting 3 damage counter on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like for 2 Psychic and 1 Colorless. It also has the Shimmering Star attack, knocking out opponent's active Pokemon if it has exactly 4 damage counters on it for only 1 Psychic energy. So we're trying to use this card with our Lost Box using Mirage Gate for the energy and Sableye to collect the knockout. We open up our Box of Disaster to collect even more damage counter on our opponent's Pokemon if the Pokemon V this card is attached to is knocked out with full HP by damage from your opponent's attacks, plus 1 Old Cemetery and 3 Horror for the extra punishment. We also have 1 Cramorant to do fast damage early in the game, 1 Manaphy for the bench barrier, and 1 Radiant Charizard for big knockouts towards the very end. You can find a full list in the description of this video, so without further ado, let's go for some gameplay! Okay, let's go for our first game versus a Lost Box with Ludicolo and Cramorant. So they are doing 100 more damage for 0 energy if they evolve a Ludicolo from their hand. If they evolve 2 copies in the same turn, they got 310 damage, base damage without the Choice Belt and Articuno. If they got Articuno on their bench, they're doing 10 more damage for that basic water Pokemon, and Choice Belt is going to help them kill a Typhlosion a lot easier. So all they need is a couple Articunos on the bench, a Choice Belt, and maybe a Ludicolo. Well, they actually need 1 Ludicolo evolution if they want to kill our Typhlosion with 1 hit. Typhlosion only has 260 HP, so it's actually pretty low for a V-Star. 260 is quite terrible, honestly, but at least is better than the basic. So the evolution has a little bit more HP, which is actually helping you survive maybe possibly 1 turn. If you don't survive 1 hit, you can actually place damage counter with your Horror and the Box of Disaster. Box of Disaster is helping you place a lot of damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. So obviously play only 1 copy of your Typhlosion if you can. If you don't get knocked out that easily though, you may actually it may be possible for you to play more than 1 copy per game, because we have our Rod, we have 2 copies of Rod now, and we actually are playing 2 copies of our Typhlosion VSTAR with the basic. So it's not that impossible to play 2 copies in a game, but I would recommend not doing that, because if they kill your Typhlosion, they're drawing 2 prizes. If they kill a Sableye, they're only drawing 1 prize. And we actually got a lot of attackers for this deck. We have our 1 prize Lost Mine attacker. We have our Cramorant to do Spit Innocently for 110 damage, quite a lot. We even have our Horror Energy to place even extra damage counters on them with Old Cemetery as well. We got our Mirage Gate to charge up our Radiant Charizard. We got Rods to recycle the Charizard as well. So we have a lot of attackers. Don't waste your Typhlosion, because if you waste another 2 prize playing as a second V-Star, you wouldn't be able to win the game that easily, because you are wasting too many prizes. Okay, we got our Aurora, we got our Horror Energy, my bad. And let's play Colress. Always think about losting cards fast. If you can loss as early as possible, you got you can actually play your Mirage Gate a lot faster, and you can play your Sableye a lot earlier. And we want to be placing damage counters on our opponent's Pokemon as fast as possible with Hollow Flames, and also obviously Lost Mine, because if we can play Lost Mine early, especially against a 1 prize deck, we can actually do a lot to prevent them from evolving their Pokemon. If we can kill the 𝘿𝙗𝓵 with Lost Mine fast, then they can't actually use the Ludicolo's effect anymore. So that's the plus side of using our Sableye. We have a lot of switch cards for our Comfey to Lost cards. We have 4 copies of Colress, but we are not playing any Lost Vacuums for this deck. No Lost Vacuum or 𝓿𝙗𝓸𝓼. So we are not able to Lost cards as fast as I would like. But to add for consistency, we have a lot more supported cards instead of the 𝓿𝙗𝓸𝓼 and Lost Vacuum, my bad. Because those cards actually eat up a lot of space in the deck, and that means you wouldn't be able to play enough supporter cards. You wouldn't be able to play enough Mirage Gates or Box of Disaster. Those cards take up space as well. So for consistency, to make the deck a lot more consistent, we decided to not play any 𝓿𝙗𝓸𝓼s. You can actually choose to play 𝓿𝙗𝓸𝓼 with Pokestop, because you can recover your supporter card by discarding it. And Pokestop actually helps you get your switch cards for Comfey to loss a lot faster, and also to get your VIP on the first turn. So Pokestop with 𝓿𝙗𝓸𝓼 is the perfect combo. If you saw our previous video, we we showcased Riley, the new supporter card with Bayonet and Pokestop, which actually helps us discard our V-Union pieces for us to play our Morpeko and Mewtwo V-Union. Both, two different unions in a single game. Every game, we get to play 2 unions. And we even get to recycle our Peonia, our boss, from the discard pile with Bayonet's Puppet offering ability. So Bayonet is very fun to play if you're doing a Lost Box. Make sure you check out our previous video. So right now they have Cramorant in the active, Articuno on the bench, and a 𝘿𝙗𝓵. If we can pull off Lost Mine this turn, that would be great. We need to be killing off the 𝘿𝙗𝓵 right now. If we are doing Hollow Flames, they would probably be benching a second Cramorant and then switching with the Comfey to attack already. So we have to do Lost Mine as fast as possible. I don't think we can do it though. I don't think we have enough cards in the Lost Zone. Do we even have a single copy before the Colress? I'm not too sure now. What do we have in the Lost Zone? We can play the Mirage Gate. That means we have at least 7 now. So I'm pretty sure we have 8 or maybe even 9. I don't know how much we have. We got a Colress in our hand, so we can play it on the next turn. We're gonna Flower Select another time. So we don't really need our second copy. We can just lost it, honestly. Because if you play 2 basics, if you bench a second basic, you can rot it back. You can rot back your Evolution, prepare your energies on the bench. If they boss and kill off the Typhlosion on the bench, you got your box to place damage counters on them anyways. If you need to attach it fast though. If you don't have the box in your hand, don't bench the second Typhlosion. So if they boss kill it, you got your first one to attack with Hollow Flames, which is basically the same thing. If they kill your first one, slowly kill it off with 2 strikes to avoid the box, to avoid Box of Disaster's effect. You can actually attack more easily. You have a lot more turns to attach energy onto your second Typhlosion to attack another time. And Rod is actually giving you a lot of free space for you to, you know, play your second V-Star by recycling the first one instead of, you know, instead of using the second V-Star copy. You can actually lost it and then recycle the first copy by, you know, retrieving it from the discard pile or shuffling back into the deck and then drawing it back out with your Comfey, Colress, Marnie, Incense, Ultra Ball. We are only playing 2 copies of Incense and 1 Ultra Ball. The reason being we are drawing a lot of cards every single turn. Colress is actually speeding through the deck. You are racing through the deck because you're drawing 5 every single turn. You are losting 2 cards from the top 5 cards of your deck. But you at least get to, you know, run through 5 cards every single turn, which is a lot. In addition to your item surges, you are doing Colress as well. Okay, we're gonna do Colress again, and right now we actually get to play our Lost Mine. We finally get to do it for sure, because we could, I'm pretty sure we had 8 on the last turn, and now we have 10 cards in the Lost Zone. We just need to do Escape Rope. We got an Air Balloon. I think we actually are playing 2 copies of Air Balloon for the final list. And we have 2 rods for the final deck list as well. This is one of the earliest build. And I think we don't have a Radiant Charizard for the early build. Radiant Charizard is going to help you a lot against meta decks though. If they play Palkia V-Star or even 𝓿𝙗𝓵 V-Star. I don't think we can win against 𝓿𝙗𝓵 honestly, because you need a one-hit KO strategy against 𝓿𝙗𝓵. If they play any other meta decks, any other V-Stars, we stand a good chance at winning just because we have our Radiant Charizard to do big damage late stage in the game. We got our Sableye to collect the knockout. We got our Hollow Flame, Shimmering Star. Let's not forget that Typhlosion can do Shimmering Star. If you have exactly 4 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon, you can knock it out with that V-Star attack, but it only allows you to use it once. You can only use that attack once per game, so make sure you use it wisely. Don't use it to knock out a 1 prize. Use it to kill a V-Star or at least a V-Max. Well, or even a V-Max, my bad. A V-Star like a 𝓿𝙗𝓵 would be a big kill though. It would be a huge knockout if you can kill a V-Star, a 𝓿𝙗𝓵 V-Star with 1 hit using your V-Star power. Okay, here comes more 𝓿𝓚𝓵𝓵. If they bench more 𝓿𝓚𝓵, we got our Sableye second copy to collect the knockout and draw even more prizes. They need cards like Espeon VMAX or Big Parasol to deny us from playing our Sableye. So there isn't many cards that protect against Sableye's effect. The only thing right now is Snorlax, Big Parasol, Mr. Rhyme, and Espeon VMAX. So those are the only options. And Lost Mine is basically dominating the format right now. But it's only 12 damage counters though. If you don't have enough damage counters in the game, you may not be able to deal with VMAX decks or V-Star decks. Especially if they play heal cards like Crystal Cave, Hyper Potion, or any other cards like that. If they do Blissey V, I almost call it a VMAX, Blissey V with Miltank, you cannot actually win that easily unless if you play your Radiant Charizard or if they don't get their heal cards in time. So heal decks would actually be a big thing right now because 𝓿𝓚𝓵 is kind of you know, the top deck right now. 𝓿𝓚𝓵 is basically the best of the best because you need to do a one-hit KO every single turn, which is crazy. You have to one-hit KO 350 damage against every single 𝓿𝓚𝓵, like 2 or 3 𝓿𝓚𝓵s that they have. If they play Arceus with 𝓿𝓚𝓵, you need to kill 2 𝓿𝓚𝓵s to be able to win the game, which is insane because you need 350 damage twice. Otherwise, you would need a 2-hit KO strategy. You got Moisture Star, they got Hyper Potion, they got Crystal Cave. If you're not killing them with 1 hit, you may need 2 more hits after that to win the game. So you're wasting a lot of turns just to kill 1 V-Star for 2 prize. Wasting 3 turns for 2 prize is not good. It's just terrible. Another deck I can think of is Inteleon VMAX. Rapid Strike Inteleon VMAX with Cheryl. That's a big heal deck as well. So if you play a lightning deck, you can kill off Palkia, you can kill off Rapid Strike Inteleon, but you can't actually kill off 𝓿𝓚𝓵 that easily unless if you do Raichu. I think Raichu would be a really good deck right now. Raichu V from Brilliant Stars. You can knock out anything with 1 hit. If you play your Raihan, Flaffy, I mean, it would be a quite straightforward deck, but you know, for the meta right now, Raichu is actually the perfect fit. Raichu with Arceus maybe, or even Raichu with Flaffy alone. You don't really need a lot with Raichu, honestly. If they play 1 prize, you would need to think a bit more. Like maybe 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐 with Raichu. The 1 prize 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐. Well, obviously there's only a 1 prize 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐 right now, but there's going to be a VMAX on the next set. There's not many basic lightning Pokemons though. I'm quite sad. Someone actually thought of playing Regi-𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐 VMAX with Vikavolt V, which would be so cool because Vikavolt is doing only 50 damage with Paralyzing Bolt, and if you do 30 more for each 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐 VMAX you have in play, you're doing like basically 100 plus damage for an item lock effect, which is gonna be insane because you can do a 2-hit KO plus a crazy control effect, which is kind of not only stopping your opponent from playing item cards, from switching, from getting their doing Capacious Bucket, evolving with their Incense. They can't do anything. They can't play Quick Ball. They can't play Air Balloon. They can't play what else can they play? They can't play Tool Cards. They can't play Choice Belt. They are a lot more confined than usual. No Level Ball for Inteleon, no Level Ball for Shady Dealings. It would be insane. And they can't actually play Scoop Up Net for Comfeys as well. No Scoop Up Net, no Switch, no Escape Rope. Okay, they actually are playing Baynet for this game. They have Baynet, Lost Vacuum, and Fantina. So they are doing Sableye Fantina, having 10 cards in the Lost Zone to use those effects. And Fantina isn't actually doing much because it's only reducing damage done by V Pokemon. So if your opponent plays a 1 prize deck, their damage is not reduced. Also, they are playing low HP decks. a low HP Pokemon deck, that means all of their Pokemon has less than 120 HP, which is quite sad. So that means all your opponent needs is 240 damage to kill anything across the board, even a Cramorant, because they got no Cape of Toughness, they got no Big Charm, they got no other damage reduction cards. I don't think they have a Gardevoir even. 𝓵𝓸𝓼 is just not a good card right now. It's a supporter that reduces 120 damage, reduces by 120, done by V Pokemons. But it actually reduces damage done to all of your Pokemon though, which is pretty cool. It's a full safeguard effect, a, you know, what's it called again? A full, it protects all of your Pokemon, which is pretty cool, just like Aegislash. Big shield. Bayonet is actually really fast though. You can Lost and play Mirage Gate on your second turn. If you do nothing but Comfey and Colress is a bit slower, you may not be able to play Mirage Gate until your second turn, until your third turn, my bad, because you know, if you evolve your Bayonet, all you need is a Colress and a couple Comfeys. You wouldn't be able to fit in that many switch cards though. And you may not be able to attack with Cramorant that fast, because if you have not enough switches, you may not be able to play enough flower selecting for you to do your spit innocently with Cramorant. Okay, they got their first prize. And now we're gonna lost another card. I don't think we need the Old Cemetery. Like, there's no point playing that stadium. They have Psychic Pokemons. If they play a Radiant Charizard out of nowhere, I would be quite sad, because Radiant Charizard can kill the Typhlosion with one hit if they have a Choice Belt. We have our box though, so we shouldn't be too worried. We don't have a box attached right now, so I think we should really get one. I don't think we have it in the deck anymore. We lost that one, and the other might be in the discard pile. I don't know. I think for this game we have 3 copies. We actually are playing 3 copies of box. For one of the final list, the final upgrade has only 2 copies of the box, because we don't actually need that many. It's better not to play that many actually, because we need a lot more, you know, a lot more switches for our Comfey, a lot more supporter cards to help us draw cards faster. We need to make sure this deck, you know, is fast enough to win the meta deck, to win the meta game, because meta games are so fast right now. You cannot afford to waste a single turn. You cannot afford to waste any time at all, because it's super tight. Okay, here comes the Sableye. Can they already play the Lost Mine? That would be pretty insane though. What turn is it right now? I think it's been a few turns already, isn't it? They should be able to play the Sableye right now. Okay, they're retrieving the Colress. Do they even have any other supporter cards? Oh right, they're playing 𝓵𝓸𝓼. I forgot. They're not discarding the supporter card though. They're only playing it from their hand. That means they get to play it twice. If they do something like Pokestop, they can actually, you know, run through the deck even faster. If you are doing Bayonet though with you know, with Pokestop, you need to play Rod, because if you don't play enough Rods, you cannot retrieve your Bayonet. Bayonet is 100 HP, that means you can't actually retrieve it with your Rescue Carrier. It would be a bit better. It would make the deck a lot better. Lost deck's so much more fun if Bayonet is a 90 HP Pokemon. If it's 90 HP, it would be so good, because it's like a Level Ball card. You get to retrieve it with your rescue carrier as well. But nope, they had to make it 100 HP. It's just annoying. I don't know why. I wanted so bad to play Bayonet with rescue carrier and Pokestop, but they don't let you. I don't know why. I guess it would be a bit too broken. I don't know. Do you think? Okay, we got a Cramorant knockout. We're gonna place the damage counters on the Sableye. And let's put pressure on the Comfey as well. Because that way we get to... Oh, we actually place it on both the Sableyes. That way we get to Lost Mine for extra prizes. Right? If we kill... if they bench another Comfey or like another... There we go. Here comes the Comfey. So we should be placing damage counter on both the Comfeys right now. Because if they scoop up one or the other, we got our Sableye to basically kill for 2 prize on the next turn by knocking out the Sableye and one of the Comfeys. Okay, they are actually playing a really smart spread. We should not have benched our Comfey on the last turn because we can actually scoop up the one with more damage counters if they spread the damage. It would be the same thing though. We would still have 2 damage counter on one of the Comfeys. But right now we actually have 2 liabilities on the bench, which is terrible, and only 1 Scoop Up Net to remove one from play. That means we are gonna have to play our Sableye at the very last minute because they have 3 prize remaining. They're gonna Lost Mine for 2 prize on the next turn. But we have to basically not bench anything, force them to get stuck for 1 turn, trying to kill the Typhlosion with 1 strike, which is virtually impossible without Charizard. I don't think they can do it even with the Charizard because it's only doing 250. If they have a choice belt, they can actually. My bad. So they may be able to knock us out with Charizard, which would actually win them the game. So let's hope they don't do that. We cannot afford to bench anything right now, and I think Sableye would work really well with Echoing Horn. If they do Echoing Horn, they can actually win a lot easier. So I'm not sure if they are playing that card. Echoing Horn with Sableye would be a bit broken, because you can knock it out and then, you know, put it back onto the bench for you to do another knockout. And you can choose when to play that item card. Isn't that insane? People has already done it though. Like, people had already thought about it, and it's already been played so often. Sableye with Echoing Horn. I'm quite surprised that they don't actually have it, because they have no other attackers. They got nothing but Sableye, Cramorant, and Fantina. We haven't seen any Radiant Charizard yet. Okay, we're gonna spread it onto... We actually played... Oh my goodness, I don't know what I was doing. I placed the damage counter on the Sableye when we should be placing on the Comfey. I guess I'm trying to do an Escape Rope, because if we get an Escape Rope, we can actually knock out the Sableye on the bench by placing 3 damage counter with Hollow Flames. So all we need is 1 Escape Rope on the next turn, but I don't think we got it because we don't have any searches. We got not enough support cards for this game. I think we actually have 1 less Marnie for another Mirage Gate or something like that. So we don't really need 3 copies of Mirage Gate. Eventually I decided, you know what, we just need 2 copies. We can actually attach from our hand quite easily. We don't need to be bothered with energy since we are playing Cramorant. We have 1 copy, we have our Heavy Ball to get it from the prize if it gets stuck there. So I don't think we're faring too bad in terms of energy acceleration. We just need to play maybe 1 gate for the Typhlosion and another one possibly for Radiant Charizard to attack earlier. I don't think Radiant Charizard needs the Mirage Gate though. If you want to be playing your 2nd copy of your Typhlosion, it would be a bit more difficult. So we did another Holo Flames, and here comes, we finally placed the damage counter smartly by putting pressure on both the Comfey. So now if they scoop up the Sableye or the Comfey, we are still good for 2 prizes. We didn't get the Escape Rope though. If we got the Escape Rope on the last turn, we could have killed both Sableyes, or even like the Cramorant and 1 Sableye on the bench. And then we would just need 1 last kill for this turn. So here comes Fantina. And Fantina is basically stopping Typhlosion from knocking out anything except the Comfey. If we don't get a boss, we can't do a knockout. So we're trying to get past Fantina by playing our Sableye. And we can actually do it on this turn because we got our Escape Rope and Air Balloon for us to do a double switch. We actually get to play Flower Select for the final lost card because we only have 9 cards in the lost zone. So fortunately, we actually got the Escape Rope from the prize and did not need to play our supporter card because we actually have 1 less Marnie for this game. Eventually, we decided, you know what, we need a lot more supporter cards. Let's just swap out the Mirage Gate for another Marnie. And it actually worked really well. So this was the game where we decided, you know, Marnie is actually a lot more important than the energies. And here comes Lost Mine, knocking out the Sableye and a Comfey. They even benched a Shuppet for us. Oh, they have a Lost City. Okay, on to the next game. Now we are up against a Darkrai V-STAR. So Darkrai is actually hitting twice as much damage to kill off our Typhlosion. If they knock out Typhlosion with 1 hit, we got at least 8 damage counters in the game though. If we play Horror Energy and Old Cemetery at the same time, they may be punished by more damage counters. And then on the next turn, we just need to collect the knockout with Lost Mine and then maybe another Cramorant to kill off that would be 3 turns though. 3 turns just to kill a V-STAR is not good. But if we get bossed, there's nothing we can do. And we actually got bossed for this game, which is horrible. Okay, we're gonna VIP for Cramorant. I don't think we need another Comfey. Oh, we got a Level Ball, so we should be getting our 3rd Comfey with the ball, because it doesn't work for Cramorant. So Level Ball works for Manaphy, Sableye, it doesn't work for Typhlosion. That's why we have 3 copies of Quick Ball, 4 VIP Pass for Typhlosion as well, and 1 Ultra Ball for Typhlosion also, the basic, and only 3 Level Ball for our Comfey. The reason being, we actually need a lot more Comfeys early game. So even if we get our Level Ball, if we don't get to bench our Typhlosion from the start, it's still okay. Don't freak out, because sometimes it's actually a liability. You have no choice but to play it though. You actually have no choice, because this deck is centered around Typhlosion. You have to attack with Cramorant first if you can, because we only are playing 1 copy. If you get it in the prize, and if you don't get your Heavy Ball, you may be forced to attack with your Typhlosion first. And that's not always a bad thing, even if they are playing a Darkness deck, because you have your Old Cemetery. I keep repeating the same thing, but it's, you know, it's important. You have your Box of Disaster. If they kill you with 1 strike, you still get to punish them, and you still get to basically save yourself with your Sableye and Radiant Charizard. Radiant Charizard is going to help you collect extra prizes late game. If they play a lot of V cards in their deck, we have 1 boss to target Lumineon or Crobat on the bench. So I don't think it's too bad. And if they play cards like Moltres as well, we can quite easily kill the Galarian Moltres V for 2 prize using Combustion Blast. Okay, they're doing Darkrai with Dark Patch. And Pokestop is actually the perfect card for Darkrai V-Stars decks. Darkrai V-Star deck with Moltres works really well with Pokestop just because you are discarding your Darkness Energy and getting your Dark Patches into your hand. Also the Air Balloon and, you know, Incense as well. If you discard your Darkrai V-Star though, if you discard too many of your important Pokemons, you may need to rot them back, which would slow you down an extra whole turn. So I don't think you'll be that unlucky. If you're smart enough, you would play a lot less Pokemons and a lot more item cards if you do Pokestop, because that way you would have lower chance, you know, it would be less risky. You would have a lower chance of discarding the wrong cards. So they're giving us the Pokestop. I think we're going to play it for this game. We're actually going to discard cards and run through the deck, and we actually got a Box of Disaster, which is grand. We're going to attach the energy onto the Typhlosion. Are we going to retreat though? I think we should be retreating with the Comfey and lost another card. So we actually decided to do that. So sometimes it's better just to waste your energy for the retreat cost, because you have your Mirage Gate to, you know, we can think about Typhlosion's attack cost later. We can gate it when we have it. And all we need is a Horror Energy from our hand or even a Fire. Well, we actually need either a Psychic or a Horror though. If we attach a Fire Energy from our hand, we cannot actually attack. We cannot use Hollow Flame because Hollow Flame requires 2 Psychic and 1 Fire. That means if you do Mirage Gate, you're going to have to either play 2 copies of Gate if you have a Fire Energy in your hand, or no energies, or, you know, search your deck, you know, draw cards until you get your Horror Energy to attach from your hand, and then play the Gate for the Fire. And it's like, obviously play the Gate first whenever you're able to. If you have cards, if you don't have enough cards in the Lost Zone, you actually, obviously you have to play your Colress and Comfey's ability first before you're able to do the Gate. But if you can play it already, don't play Colress, because you're actually drawing a lot more energies into your hand. And if those energies are in your hand, you cannot play Mirage Gate to attach them, because it only allows you to attach energies from the deck. 2 different types of energy from the deck. If you have, for example, 3 Fire Energy in your hand, or maybe 1 discarded, then you can't actually attach the Fire anymore. You're only attaching 1 energy with Mirage Gate onto the V-Star, and that means you can't attack that easily. If you attach 1 every single turn onto the Typhlosion though, instead of for the retreat cost, you may be able to attack without that many energy attachments, without that many extra energies from the Gate. So initially we had a Switching Cups to replace one of the energy, or maybe the Marnie. I'm not sure what other card we have, but we initially thought about Caitlyn just to put the energies into the deck. Putting energies back inside the deck actually helps us play our Mirage Gate a lot easier. So Caitlyn and Switching Cups is actually a good combo with Mirage Gate, because most times with Colress you're going to draw out the energies. And since you're playing only 6 copies of energy, it would be quite difficult to play your Mirage Gate even with 2 rods. So that's why we have Shauna and Marnie right now. I don't think we have 2 copies of Marnie. Now we actually have 1 Marnie and 1 Shauna, which is a lot more interesting, isn't it? So if you play only 6 copies of energy, I don't think they would show up that early. If they don't show, if you're lucky, they may not show up at all until the very end, and that means you actually get to play your Gate at the perfect time, and then attach your Horror. Obviously Horror Energy is a special, and if you play more than 2 copies of special energy in your deck, it would actually show up quite easily into your hand, I think. It's kind of based on luck and experience, I don't know, but special energies show up a lot more easier. Unless if you have more than 1 type of special energy. I don't know why, but if you play more than 1 type of special energy, it kind of get lost in a sea. If you play only 1 special energy, it's gonna show up very, very early in the game. I don't know why. It just loves to come out. Okay, we're gonna attack with our Cramorant because they just killed us. They knocked us out on the last turn, and we managed to rot it back and resummon the Cramorant onto the bench on the same turn right after shuffling it back. So we're gonna scoop up the Comfey to attack with the same Cramorant, doing 110 damage on the Moltres, and all we need is another strike. They're gonna do a boss right now though, you'll see. They actually did a boss to kill our Typhlosion, which is just gnarly. Okay. Darkrai is gonna evolve. And they're gonna kill the V-Star. It's unavoidable. It'll happen at some point, but I was actually hoping for us to get at least one strike of Hollow Flames in a game before they actually knock us out. Unfortunately, we're not able to do so. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. Okay, they haven't used the V-Star power yet. I guess it's because they don't need it. Star Abyss. They already have enough darkness energy in the game. They don't need that much damage to knock us out. There's nothing that they need to do right now except hope that we don't collect our prizes fast enough, because they can't actually heal their Pokemon. So if your opponent doesn't heal, we can spread a lot of damage, and all we need to do is think about collecting the knockout, right? Spreading enough every single turn, and then adding up those damage counters for the knockout. Okay, we got 8 damage counters to kill the Moltres, and now we have 14 damage counter on the Darkrai, passing the turn, doing Lost Mine with Sableye. All we need is 130 damage to kill off the Darkrai V-Star, and if they kill our Sableye on the next turn, we got another 2 damage counters on it with Horror Energy. That means we can actually knock out the Darkrai with our Cramorant. So this turn, we are actually knocking out for 2 prize by killing off the Moltres and preparing for the knockout on the Darkrai V-Star. I almost call it 𝓿𝙗𝓵 V-Star. With our Cramorant on the next turn. So that means we would have 4 prizes drawn by the end of our next turn. But by the end of our next turn, they would actually have 1 prize remaining, I think. Well, no, 2 prizes remaining. So that means if we can do a last minute boss to kill the Crobat on the bench, or anything that has 250 or less HP, we can actually kill for the final 2 prize, winning the game with a Radiant Charizard. So obviously keep your Charizard in hand. Keep your Charizard and don't bench it until the very last moment, because if they see a Radiant Charizard on the bench, they're gonna boss it, they're gonna kill it off. If they see Sableye on the bench, they wouldn't actually do that much, because Sableye is not gonna do enough damage against a V-Star deck anyways. So Sableye is not really a big threat, but Radiant Charizard is a big threat. So they would probably more likely be saving their bosses for the Radiant Charizard. There we go, we got 8 damage counters on the Moltres and another 4 on the V-Star. Now we just need to hope they don't play an Escape Rope. If they do boss Escape Rope, we can't actually kill the Darkrai that easily. We would need another turn just to kill off the V-Star. 12 damage counter is not enough. We need 1 last damage counter. Horror Energy is going to do the trick, but it can easily be avoided by Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves, Escape Rope Boss. So I would love to play Zigzagoon and Radiant Blastoise for this deck. I actually tried Radiant Blastoise, but the bad thing about Blastoise is that you need to play Training Court or a lot more Recycler Rods If you play Blastoise with Rod though, and only 3 copy of the Water Energy, I don't think it would be that consistent. You wouldn't be able to use his ability that often. And if you play 2 different stadium cards as well, if you do Training Court and Old Cemetery, it's not going to be that effective. You're kind of juggling between 2 different stadium cards, which is not smart. Because if you have Old Cemetery in play, you wouldn't want to replace it with a Training Court before your opponent has attaches enough energies to punish them enough. You would want to leave your Old Cemetery in play for as long as you can. But sometimes you may not have a choice. If you do Training Court in your deck, you may not have a choice but to play it just to retrieve your energies for extra damage counters, because Training Court with your Blastoise is actually guaranteed damage counters on the bench, right? If you do Training Court, you actually get to snipe for sure and add extra damage counters in the game. If you do Old Cemetery, you're actually passing the ball to your opponent and hoping against hope that they don't play a stadium on their turn to remove your Old Cemetery before they attach their energies onto their Pokemon, because that way they get to avoid the damage counters. Okay. Here comes Clara. Are they gonna attack with the 1 prize Moltres? I don't think they have enough energies though. They would need 1 energy in their hand, and they got 1 card. I don't think that card is an energy. You never know. So if they retreat right now and attack with the 1 prize Moltres, they can still win pretty easily. Because then we would need 2 bosses, right? We would need 2 bosses to deal with, not just the V-Star that is almost dying but is just not gonna die, and also one of the, well, we have Lost Mine, but it's not gonna help us though. We don't have enough, because they have 13 damage counter remaining. They have 130 HP. We need 13, unfortunately. If they attack with any other Pokemon, we're done for. There we go. Thank God they couldn't attack with other Pokemons. They can actually do Crobat though. They should have retreated to the Crobat and used like Darkness Fang for the Sableye knockout. I guess they weren't really paying attention what's happening. Or maybe they just weren't expecting us to play the Radiant Charizard. I guess they were like, you know what? I don't see a Charizard in play. I don't see a Charizard anywhere. They may just not have it. But we have it in our hand for a last minute knockout. We didn't get our boss with the Flower Select. It is actually at the final card, at the very bottom of the deck, because we used our Quick Ball to search. There we go. And we found the boss at the bottom. So we're gonna get the boss on the next turn. If they play a Marnie, we're gonna have to dig them back out. We're gonna have to dig out our Fire Energy, our Radiant Charizard, and the boss with nothing but our Comfey. So it's gonna be a bit more difficult to do that, but not impossible though. Let's just empty our hand as much as we can so that we are, it actually helps us draw the cards that we need on the next turn if they do a Marnie. So let's play the Mirage Gate. I think we should definitely do the Mirage Gate though, at least 1 copy. If we do it later, we can actually, if we get the Mirage Gate instead of the Fire Energy, it can actually help us though, right? We should definitely play at least 1 copy though. I don't think we should keep that many gates. So we can play the Escape Rope before the boss. We can basically play all of the Escape Rope and then do Comfey's ability to dig out our Radiant Charizard boss and energy. But the bad thing about Comfey's ability is that if they play a Marnie, we may actually be forced to lose either the Radiant Charizard or the boss. If we lost one or the other, we're done for. So if we don't get the Ultra Ball to search for it first, we may actually be forced to lose one of the cards that we need. If we lost the Fire, we got another one. If we lost the Mirage Gate, we got our basic Fire. If we lost the Radiant Charizard or the boss, we're done for. So that's the risk of playing a Lost Box. Radiant Pokemons with Lost Box is very, very risky. Go big or go home, right? We're gonna go as big as we can. Okay, here comes Star Abyss for 2 Scoop Up Nets. And they're forcing us to kill a V card for the final 2 prize. Like, Sableye can't kill both the Moltres and the Greninja anyways in 1 turn. So I don't know why they need the Scoop Up Net. They should be playing cards like Volo. Or, what other cards is there? I don't think there are any other cards though. Sharon only works for colorless Pokemon, so Volo is the only way that they can save themselves right now, and they can't actually save the Moltres because we can either boss the Crobat or the Moltres. So we got everything, we just need to play it carefully. We got the boss. If they do a cape on the Moltres though, and then Volo to discard the Crobat, they can, or even evolve the Crobat into a VMAX, then we can't actually win the game that easily. Well, we can't win the game at all. But we actually won because they did not do either of those moves. So let's go for the next one. Another tournament game. We're gonna go for a Regi deck right now. We're gonna fight against Regi-box with 𝓿𝓚𝓵𝓵, with double 𝓿𝓚𝓵. They got one of the Terra Spark one and one of the one from Astro Radiance with targeted bolt. So Regi-box from Astro Radiance is actually necessary. They need that for the ability. They need to draw cards with the Regi-box, so I don't think they can afford to play the other variant. Because Regi-box from Evolving Skies is actually doing a lot more damage, but it doesn't have the ability that helps them draw cards, which would actually cause them to get stuck. Because they are not allowed to play any other Pokemons. They are not allowed to have anything but Regis in play if they want to use that ability every single turn. And they actually have to, otherwise they wouldn't have enough energies to attack. Isn't that sad that Regi decks are actually, you know, a built-in strategy of its own? You don't really need anything else. Like, you're not encouraged to test things out. You're not encouraged to explore different pathways and, you know, kind of mix and match and play different combos and different strategies. You're not just, you're just expected to play what you have, right? What they give you. Like, why don't people encourage us? Why isn't the world encouraging, you know, creative thinking or critical thinking? It should really be more out there, isn't it? Everyone love, you know, simple decks that are crazy powerful. And it's just, I mean, you need to think, you need to challenge yourself. You can't always go for those simple decks. You have to use your brain once in a while. Like, come on, people. Don't keep playing Regi decks. Like, please. Why do you keep doing that? Regi. Like, can't you think of something else? There's so many options. We got the Lost Box now. You can do Mirage Gate for anything. Like, even simple combos like that, people wouldn't do it. There are cards that are really difficult to build, like Roserade. I think that's like the all-time weakest deck of all, Roserade. I think if anyone builds a deck from Roserade, I would be very impressed, because I don't think there's enough cards to actually make it work against the meta. If anyone builds a deck and win against the meta deck, right? If they build a deck and lose, I don't think I would be that impressed, Because anyone can just do a deck, right? Here comes 𝓕𝓼𝓵𝓵. No Aurora energy, so they got stuck for one turn. We're gonna play Hollow Flames now. You're too late. Do we have it though? Do we have the gate? Do we have... I don't think we do. So they got stuck for one turn, and apparently we got stuck as well. We need to play our quick ball for the third Comfey, and then hopefully get a Scoop Up Net for us to do Hollow Flames. If we can play Colress right now, we would be able to play the Mirage Gate a lot easier. I don't think we have it though. Honestly, it's not that easy. If we have a supporter card in our hand, it would be a lot easier. Nothing. Okay, we're gonna try our luck again. If we get a Colress, we may be able to fish out another net or escape rope. Okay, we got nothing. Oh well. We tried our best. We got another energy for Typhlosion. And we're just gonna hope for the best. Fingers crossed. $150 damage for Regi-box, knocking out anything except for our V-STAR. So Regi-box has no darkness, has no dark type. That means they are not killing us with one hit. Our V-STAR is actually able to tank one strike at least, and that means we got 2 strikes with our V-STAR if they don't do the boss, and we can place extra damage counters on the bench with Hollow Flames, which is pretty cool. And I don't think we need Shimmering Star for this game. Shimmering Star would actually slow us down because we are not placing extra damage counters on the bench, so we should not be using that V-STAR attack, especially if they do a 1 prize. Alrighty, they're probably gonna do 𝓕𝓼𝓵𝓙 right now. Oh my goodness, they did not get the Scoop Up Net switch. Okay, interesting. They're probably playing like a billion Ordinary Rods and capture energy, you know, ways to retrieve the Pokemon and shuffle it back. Because Regi decks actually need those cards. If they don't have enough, they wouldn't be able to save themselves, right? Rebench and, you know, get the ammo back. Get the engine back up and running. Okay. Let's just play our ability first. And then Escape Rope. We just need 1 energy. There we go, we got the Colress. Are we gonna do the Colress or the energy? We should play the Colress though, because we need to lost cards in order to play the Sableye. If we don't lost enough, we can't play the Sableye. And I don't think we have enough cards in the lost zone. We are losting the horror energy, which is not good, but we really don't have a choice right now. I honestly don't think we have a choice. We are pretty torn for this game because we just need 1 energy for Typhlosion to attack. If we don't get an energy with Colress, that would be pretty bad, but I don't think we would be that unlucky because we haven't played the gate yet, and we should be getting at least either the gate or the energy. There we go. We got both. Way too many energies at that. We're gonna save our fire energy for Radiant Charizard. And they actually have a path to the peak. We did not realize that at some point in the game. And we couldn't actually attack with the Radiant Charizard. So we had to do an escape rope after that. So let's do Hollow Flames for our first kill. We got the box. Preparing for Sableye to do extra knockouts. I don't think Sableye is able to collect extra knockouts though, unless if we do Hollow Flames enough times, because they have 130 HP, and Sableye is only able to place 12 damage counters, which is barely knocking out the first Regi if they have full HP. So Typhlosion is not placing enough damage counters, unfortunately, on the bench. But if we can play the Cramorant at some point to knock out one of the Regis, that would be great. That means we can, you know, do Sableye for Lost Mine and Radiant Charizard to collect the final few prizes. So those tiny damage counters is gonna count a lot, because we are not able to kill for one prize every single turn, unfortunately, unless if we prepare the damage counters right now. We actually have to prepare those damage counters with Hollow Flames first before Cramorant can draw one prize on the next turn, which is pretty ridiculous, isn't it? That's why I say we don't really stand a good chance against Regi decks. But if this deck is playing against any other one prize deck, basic decks that has lower than 120 HP or even 120, we would actually stand a good chance. Because if they do a Mew in the active spot, a Bidoof on the bench, we can quite easily do an Escape Rope to knock it out with our Cramorant early on in the game. We can draw the first prize fast, and that's gonna help us guarantee the win. So that's the power of Lost Box, right? The Turbo Lost Box, helping you slowly chip away at the prizes. We got 4 prizes remaining, and they got 5. So this was the game where they couldn't actually get the Aurora energy. This was the turn where they actually got stuck with the wrong 𝓙𝓚𝓚. They got the wrong 𝓙𝓚𝓚 in play. So targeted bolt, unfortunately, does not allow you to hit the active Pokemon. You only get to strike the bench Pokemon. Choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and do 120 damage to that Pokemon. If they have a Manaphy, you are doing 0 damage to any of their Pokemon, because you cannot target the active with that attack. So 𝓙𝓚𝓚 is not doing a knockout this turn. And they got no Aurora energy from their hand, not enough in the discard pile for 𝘿𝙗𝓵𝓵 to attack, not enough twin energy for Regi-box to attack either, because they need 2 twin and 1 energy from their hand for the retreat cost, 2 twin and 1 Aurora for Regi-box to attack, and 1 energy from their hand for the retreat cost. Oh, they actually got it though. They got the Aurora energy. So they may be able to attack with the Regi, the Gigas. Do they have enough? They actually do though, right? They should have retreated. Oh my goodness, they did not retreat. They actually do have the knockout. Okay, I did not realize that. So if they were smart, if they didn't make the mistake, they would have won the game, because they got the Typhlosion knockout this turn. Okay, I did not realize that. Well, we tried. It's actually virtually impossible for us to win a Regi anyways. So, against any other one prize, as I said, this deck is going to work really well. It's just Regi has 130 HP, and they got Scoop Up Nets as well. If they play the Scoop Up Net, they can actually recover the damage counters and deny us the prize from Cramorant. So those damage counters is not going to stay forever. They just wasted 1 turn when they could have retreated. I think they retreated already though. Did they done the retreat already? I'm not too sure now. I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, they even got Scoop Up Nets and switches, right? They should be retreating. Okay, here comes the rod. And they actually shuffled back the 𝓙𝓚𝓚. I guess they don't really need to attack with it anymore, because they got enough Aurora in the game. Okay, now we're gonna do Escape Rope Cramorant, because we got enough damage counters on four of the Regis. If they put the 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐 as the active, we're gonna be forced to play the Sableye, which is still okay because after that we got Cramorant for the kill, and then Radiant Charizard to knock out anything. So here comes the mistake. We actually retreated to the Charizard, not realizing that they have a path to the peak, which is shutting down, which is blocking off Excited Heart. That means we cannot actually reduce the attack cost with our ability, and Charizard needs 5 energy to attack. We don't have enough, and it's not able to attack. Totally forgot about the Stadium card. So we're gonna be forced to do Escape Rope right now. We just need our Old Cemetery. We are only playing 1 copy now. So only 1 copy for the final upgrade, and that's the reason we couldn't get it out. But we eventually got it later on. We're gonna shuffle back 2 copies. If we get the Mirage Gate, we can quite possibly attack with the Radiant Charizard this turn, but I don't think it would be that easy. Let's just play our Escape Rope. We should not be attaching that, because if we get the Sableye, we can actually, if we get the Old Cemetery, we can still use the Sableye and then play the Old Cemetery for the knockout, for the final kill. We should be attacking with Radiant Charizard on the next turn though, because that Stadium is not going to stay, you know. If we get the Stadium in our hand, we should be playing it whenever, you know, as early as possible, because they can do a Marnie. But if we play Sableye early though, then they can't scoop it up to recover the damage. So I'm not sure what we should really be doing. I think it would be wiser to play Radiant Charizard later, because that means we get to, you know, counter the Scoop Up Nets, the multi Scoop Up Nets. We got a boss though, I'm pretty sure. So if we boss any one of the damaged Regis, I don't think they have enough Scoop Up Nets to recover all of them. If we do the boss, we got the win. So they gave us a Regi Steel instead of the 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐, because they want to be attacking with the 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐 apparently. We got a Scoop Up Net. Okay, we got 10 cards in the lost zone already, I think. So we just need to play the Mine and then Radiant Charizard. If they do a boss to knock out the Radiant Charizard, I'm not sure what we should be doing, honestly. Are they gonna do the boss on the next turn? They actually got 2 turns to pull it off. If they miss 2 turns doing the boss, then we win the game. Here comes the Scoop Up Net. How many nets do you have? And they just scooped up the 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐. Why did they do that? They scooped up the 𝓿𝓚𝓐𝓐 instead of the Regi-Ice or the Regi-Rock and Gigas. They should be scooping up the Regi-Ice. What's happening? It's not making any sense. Why are you making silly mistakes? You don't need Regi though. Why are they playing 𝓤𝓚𝓵𝓵? And 𝓤𝓚𝓵 needs Grass, Fire, and Colorless. They're not attaching the right energies. Oh my god. Okay, they got the Aurora. Obviously, because they actually played a Marnie. And now they can kill the Cramorant. There we go. Giant Fangs at long last. They got the triple Aurora in, you know, in the field. 1 on the Gigas and 1 on the 𝓤𝓚. Regi-box VSTAR is gonna be so crazy for the next set. I don't know why dragon types are so overpowered now. We got 𝓿𝓚𝓵𝓵 VSTAR, Rayquaza VMAX, 𝓿𝙗𝓼𝓽 VMAX, and for the next set, we got Regi-box V-STAR. Pretty annoying. I don't like dragon types. Don't ask me why. It's just ridiculous. Like, why don't you have a weakness? Why don't you have a weakness? Every card has a weakness. If you don't have a weakness, then there should be something, you know? There should be a condition. There should be an extra condition. Instead of just requiring 2 different types of energy, like I get that, you know, the energy cost is a bit weird for dragon types, but I don't think it warrants a free weakness. That's just too broken. If you don't have a weakness at all, it would be too broken. Like, maybe reduce the HP as well or something. You know, just because you are required to play more than one type of energy to attack with your dragon type Pokemon doesn't mean you should not have any weakness. Like, whatever happened to fairy type weakness, whatever happened to dragon being weak to dragon type? Like, it's not making any sense. Okay. Now both players have 1 prize, and we got the Charizard, we got the Old Cemetery, and we got the Sableye as well, so they conceded. I don't think we have enough damage counters in the game for Sableye though. I don't know. I don't think they scooped up the right cards. So could have just scooped up the Regi-Ice instead of the 𝓿𝓚𝓵𝓵 and attacked with the Regi-Gust on that turn, but they just, I don't know, they just threw that game, I guess. Okay, this is, we're now playing against a Rapid Strike deck. They got Rapid Strike Inteleon VMAX with Zera Aura, the Shady Dealings Engine, and Cheryl. So they are playing a heal deck, and we got pretty close to losing this game. So it's a very interesting one. So I think I'm just gonna end the voiceover right here and leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. So we're featuring the Old Typhlosion V-STAR with the new Lost Box combo, playing our Hollow Flames with Sableye doing Lost Mine, placing damage counters like crazy, and also the new Box of Disaster, placing 8 damage counter on the opponent's active Pokemon. If they knock out your Typhlosion with that tool card attached, if it has full HP as well, if they do a 1-hit knockout on your Typhlosion V-STAR, they get punished by 8 damage counters. We even have our Horror Energy and Old Cemetery to punish them even more. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, and bye for now, lovely people! Enjoy life! you.